Hello everybody. I'm here to talk about a very serious issue today. I'm going to try to cover as many facts and figures as I can in as short a period of time as I can. And yes, these are facts and figures, not my usual rantings. But I just wanted to share a little bit. I first heard about population reduction back in about 1992 when I read Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper. And it was one of those books that kind of fit a period of my life and turned my mind around to realize what was really going on. And that there were some serious issues to contend with in the world. And there are indeed government programs that they've been discussing for many years to reduce population, and people have addressed these many times on YouTube. And I just wanted to put in my 2 cents, and I hope I'm not playing the devil's advocate here, because I'm going to bring up a couple misnomers and misconceptions about what's really going on. And I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression that I'm sticking up for some of these bad things that are going on. Now, here's some facts. Okay, I'm going to start off when my mom was born. When I was born in 1975. When I was born, there were 4 billion people on Earth, and now there are 7. I mean, I just can't believe it. When my mom was born, there were only 2 billion people, and in 1800 there were only 1 billion people. There's 7 billion people on Earth right now. And there could be, by 2050, there could be up to 10 billion people. Who knows? Maybe more. Okay, so here's what I've got. The best things you can do as an individual to worry about population reduction. What I'm talking about here is the fact that we're going to run out of food. And people have these huge conceptions and very big arguments and very valid arguments against GMOs. Now, I'm not supporting GMOs, nor am I bashing them, because I understand the concept of where we are right now. We can't feed the people we have on the planet, and it's getting worse by the day. Now, genetically modified crops might be our downfall in the long run, but right now we need it to keep ourselves sustained. Just like nuclear power, we can't shut down all our power reactors, even though we don't want to have nuclear power anymore. We have it. We have to deal with it. There's have been a lot of talk about chemtrails and cloud seeding and whatnot, and I'm not going to be in support or in disagreement with that either. We put people in charge. Maybe they made a bad decision to do cloud seeding programs using metals or things that weren't tested. Maybe their long-term goals were good. Maybe they really are trying to get it to rain in the Midwest and get some rain out there so the crops don't fail. Failing crops mean failing people. So while people are worried about particulates in the air, they're missing the big picture that if this is really a cloud seeding program, which in some cases it may be for the benefit of the men. But I'm not going to say that, as that's not the impact, that's not my point here. There have been secret meetings by governments for a long time about this kind of stuff. The issue that comes up is its individual freedoms, a lifespan, too many children. People don't want to be told how many kids they can have. They want to be able to decide on their own accord. And they act irrationally when they're presented with facts. And the facts show that people are having too many kids. It's really plain and simple. You can have 2 kids, and just like the parents, they'll live their life and have their children. But population growth is a serious issue. Fossil fuels are used for every aspect of food production. You remove any one part and the whole system collapses. Right now we are on a very touchy issue where certain people will say, well, we need to stop using this, we need to stop using fossil fuels, and we need to start doing this and this and this, not realizing that there are third world countries that are just starting out and completely reliant on these things that we're trying to get rid of now. Well, that's fine and dandy that the U.S. has been able to move past some of these energies, but don't forget that there are other people struggling, trying to keep up with the rest of the world, and they're starving and dying. So we're looking at an issue of die now or die later. And since we don't have proof to back up what's really going to happen later, we're hoping we can do the best we can now to stop people from dying now. However, if population reduction is really in place, who's to say that the end game isn't better for us all? Now, I don't support population reduction, don't get me wrong. So let me finish what I've got here. Because oil will always be a commodity and always needed. And if you'll notice, there's always going to be people in support of oil, people not in support of oil. Generally, the areas that are in support of oil are oil production areas where their families work, not always. And some of the more city folk type, if you want to go there, may be more against oil, even though they probably use the most of it. So, here we go. Here's with the facts and figures, okay? Here's the carrying capacity of the Earth. The carrying capacity goes for anything that can carry. This is if everyone were to live on a standard, normal, average, meager lifestyle, the way humans should live, the Earth could support 15 billion people. If we lived like they do in India, it could support up to 18 billion people. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's almost triple what we have right now. Okay? Now get this. The global hectares are 2 per person. The average in Europe is 4, and then the US is 8. We're using 4 times more goods per person. Okay? So, if we all lived like we do in the US, if everyone in the world did, then the Earth could only support 1.5 billion people. So that's like 15% of what we've got, right? Now, that means we all have to lower our lifestyle in order to better mankind as a whole. So while Americans are complaining about losing our freedoms and losing this and that and having to pay more and this, in the end we're all going to have to pay more. That's just how it is. The question isn't whether we're going to have to or we should, because yes, we should, because everyone else does. We're getting way too much stuff. The question isn't whether we're paying too much, it's whether or not that money's going to the right places, which it isn't. It's going into the pockets of corporations. So, here's the thing. There's a serious issue about sterilization in the past. There have been major human rights violations by people who are trying to forcibly sterilize their people. I just want to present another side of it because, for example, there's a huge issue with China. They enacted their one-child law in 1979. And people have been up in arms about that. People have talked about what a human rights violation that is and how horrible it is that they're doing that. They're proud of it now. I mean, they've gotten over it. They've moved past a generation of ignorance and into the real world. And as much as China may have their problems, the fact that they enacted that one-child law, if they hadn't done that in 1979, then right as of now, there would be 400 million more people on Earth than there are. So if you think about that for a minute, that's almost 500 million people. That is more people than the entire United States of America. So just think about that for a minute. More people than the entire USA if they hadn't enacted that one law. Now imagine if we don't get down and start figuring this shit out for the rest of the world. The population's growing, folks. It's getting bigger every day, and it's going to double within the next probably 40 years. So if we don't get off our asses and start figuring out what's really going on, then it's just going to get worse for our kids and their grandkids and their grandkids. And right now we're just playing this ignorance game of thinking we know what's going on. What happens is the government needs to inform us of what they're doing for these weather modification programs so they can tell us and let us decide whether or not we think that they're viable. And at the same time, we need to start giving a little bit more credit to some of these scientific discoveries that could, if done right, such as genetically modified foods, which I am not in support of, but I am not against. Genetically modified foods have not been proven one way or another. I've heard of people saying they get sick from GMOs, which the LD50, whatever. I don't know if the lethal dose or how they, rate that, but I know rats have gotten tumors. I know all the story. Rats get tumors from fucking everything, people, okay? I had rats. They get tumors if you just fucking flick a peanut at them. So, rats are not a very good sample of how damaging a food is, and genetically modified foods, while they may be not as pure as the natural thing, and I completely agree because I only grow heirloom seeds. But for now, for our starvation issues, it's out there, it's happening, it's too late. You can't just ban them now. We're at this point of no return. What happens is Monsanto has got to stop fucking putting up these patents on things. Nobody should own rights to any food patents. That's completely that's ridiculous that they should even have the right to patent a seed. However, people need to look a little bit deeper and think, is there a GMO that is safe? Is there a way for us to modify our foods, to be able to eat algae, to be able to eat other foods and grow bigger foods or better foods in order to try to curb the starving population? Because right now there are more people starving on Earth than there were on Earth by 50% in 1800. So the entire population plus another half of the Earth in 1800 is starving right now. Right now, as I'm saying this. And this is why people's small little problems about things they don't even understand aren't as important as the big picture, because while people are dying, we need to do whatever we can. It's the same reason I say fuck space travel. People don't need to spend money up there. And the last issue I want to deal with is water rights. Because if there are two things I can leave people with, it's fight for your fucking water rights. Because this is bullshit. There are people buying up land, there's people buying up water underneath you. There are people buying up every aquifer in this country, if it's not already gone. The Bush family has already bought aquifers in, I believe, Argentina and Brazil, places in South America. Huge aquifers, and people are ignorant. They think that water just lasts forever. They think that water's just always going to be here. Oh, water falls from the sky, we'll just catch our rain. Well, what if it doesn't rain? Water doesn't just sit around waiting for you. The rivers dry up, lakes dry up. Most of the water comes from the ground, and now that we're building more and more, all of that runoff's just going back down into the sea. It's just a vicious cycle, and right now we're on the very cusp. So people, enjoy this moment that we have, because this moment that we have together right now, we're kind of at the lowest part in our society, but we're also at kind of a peak as far as how comfortable we're really going to live, because it's only going to go downhill from here. People aren't going to be able to keep building up the way that our parents did and their parents did. We have to look at things differently, and that means not completely turning the book around. We need to look at every page. So just a thought out there, I'm totally not in support of weather modification or food modification, but I just want people to consider that some of the aspects of this may be a little more than meets the eye. And population reduction, while it may seem menacing, or like when you hear that term, ooh, they want to reduce the population, it's not always what people think. Population reduction should be a voluntary thing, and it's all of our responsibility to do it by making sure that we are responsible in our breeding practices and don't have 15, 20 kids. And it's really as simple as that. Just using common sense and protect your water rights, protect your food, grow your own gardens. God damn it, it's easy to get pissed off out there, but keep a cool head, because I know all the shit's going on, and the shit's going on. I mean, we've known about it for a long time. I've known about it for 20 years, and it's bugged the hell out of me ever since. And the more research I do in it, the more I realize how screwed we really are. So from that perspective, none of us can really say what it's like to be completely starving out in a desert somewhere. So just think about the little people and realize that they don't even have water, and protect what you have, or you might not have any either. So enough about that. Namaste. Everyone stay safe. Peace and love.